Hi everyone, Oligotide here. First off, welcome to my channel. It's nice to meet you all. You may know me from Hot to Go Wizard101 Edition. That video recently generated some interest on TikTok, and so today I thought I'd show you some behind the scenes on how I made that song in Wiz and how you can make your own compositions in-game as well. This is definitely not a very well-known feature of the game, and I'm hoping to raise some awareness for it since I think it's pretty fun and it would be neat to see more people trying things with it other than just myself. I will preface this that it's not super easy and that this is probably more suited for someone with some sort of musical background, as it requires you to play instruments live and on beat. Additionally, I think that having some ability to read sheet music would be helpful as well. So with that being said, let's get into the tutorial. So to get started, you're first going to need some playable housing instruments. So if you go to housing and down to instruments, you'll find a nice selection of basic instruments that you can purchase. Please note that you can purchase these for gold and they are relatively inexpensive, all things considered. Alternatively, the Battle of the Band's final boss also drops a few exclusive instruments. These instruments are dropped at all level brackets, so I recommend just farming the easiest one. The instrument drops consist of the electric violin, the saxophone, the synthesizer, the Xanadu Smashers, which are more of a rock and roll type drum kit, the Moody Groovers, which are an electric drum kit, a keytar, and a few other electric guitars. Additionally, this dungeon also has the chance to drop the Rockstar gear sets and the very rare white tiger mount, so it may also be worth farming for that reason as well. So the next thing you're going to need is some Castle Magic that you can purchase from Ada Airedale and Babbage Bassett. These two NPCs are located normally in Regent Square, Marleybone. And so Ada Airedale, she's going to sell you the Play Loop Castle Magic spell, so she's got Play Loop 1 through 8. And this is just going, for each instrument you're going to have 8 potential recording spots, so just pick whatever one you want to record to. And then additionally, you're also going to need to get the stop music spell. This will help so you don't have your song loop indefinitely. And then from Babbage Bassett, what you're going to need is you're going to need a minimum of 2 magic reflectors, and I'll show you why later on, and then something to activate those magic reflectors, like a magic floor button. Additionally, at this time, you'll also want to pick up a magic timer, which I'll show you why that's used later on. So with that being said, you should be ready to start composing now. Once you're ready to record your composition, we're going to enter the instrument's interface here and go to Jam. This is where you'll see that there are 8 different loops that you can record your composition to. But what I'm first going to do is I'm going to start by setting my metronome to its desired tempo. The metronome does reset every time that you exit the instrument's interface, so keep that in mind. I generally like to set it 1 or 2 lower than the default, as that's a little bit easier to play along to. And so this metronome is going to play after you start recording. However, it will not be included in the final result when you're listening back to it. So once I start recording on loop 5 here, we're going to have a countdown, and then it is going to immediately start recording, regardless of whether or not you start playing any notes. I generally recommend waiting 4 beats to begin your song, so then you can get the beat in your head and also ensure that your instruments all start at the same time. And so when you're done recording, you can press the space bar. I also recommend waiting a few beats after you're done playing, so then you have some leeway with the stop music Castle Magic spell. Now you should be at the point where you've recorded all of your instrumentals on all of the different instruments that you're going to use, and now we want to put it all together with Castle Magic so you have a song activate in your house. And so this is the final composition of Castle Magic that I recommend using. So I've got a magic button, 2 magic reflectors, and a magic timer. So what's going to happen is first you're going to activate this button, which then casts Activate Reflector, and it's going to select this first reflector here. This first reflector here is going to immediately activate and play the loops on all of the respective instruments. Simultaneously, it's also going to start this magic timer here. And so this magic timer here will go into the options for it. And I've set the on timer to be as long as I want my song to be. So I chose 8 seconds because that seemed to make sense. When the on timer ends, it's going to cast an activate reflector spell on this second magic reflector here. And so after 8 seconds has passed, this reflector is going to activate, and it's going to cast stop music on all of these instruments. So then the song is going to end. And then finally you should end up with a project looking like this. It's going to activate it. And then it ends. And then you've got yourself a full song. Lastly, there are some quirks that I've noticed with this system, and I figured I would just note them here. So if you do try this out, this can hopefully save you the headaches. But one, whenever you're making a recording, if you try to activate 2 or more notes at the same time, the recording is only going to pick up on one of those notes, but oftentimes not both. So that is to say, if you're trying to make a chord, what I recommend doing is to divide those notes up across multiple different instruments and then piece it back together with Castle Magic after you've finished recording. The other thing that I'll note too is that each instrument has a limited recording capacity. So what you may have to do is piece together different bits of your song with the magic timers. A final note to the developers, if you're watching this, I think that this is such a fun feature, and I'd love to see more development support for it in the future so that it could be more accessible to the average player. As you can probably see, this is pretty challenging to work with on the player's part, so it's not surprising that there haven't been many people utilizing it besides myself. Expanded composing tools would go very far in making this more accessible, but there are probably other smaller things that could be implemented in the meantime. We've already got the foundation of musicology in game, so I'd love to see that expanded upon. See my suggestions in the Discord for more ideas. With all that being said, thank you all for watching. If this tutorial helped you today, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more cover songs in Wiz. I ultimately hope to see more people trying out this feature and then seeing what other creations people make. Please feel free to reach out to me on Discord, Reddit, or on here if you have any further questions, or if you want help composing your own songs for your Wizard 101 houses. Have a good day, y'all. See you in the next video.